my goodness. The overall excitement of this past weekend is meant to be somewhat of an appetizer. The next weekend, this upcoming weekend, which is Easter, it's going to be one heck of a main course. Because, man, yesterday only added to the greatness that this past weekend was. But, first and foremost, good morning and happy Monday, everybody. So, on Saturday, just a quick recap, two people I knew from Horseheads High School got married. A girl I also knew from Horseheads met her biological father. It was my brother's birthday. All sorts of, I met a few people. I met one of the nicest people I've ever known back at the Dairy Bar when it first opened on Saturday. Just so many awesome things that, made Saturday a lot better than even I was expecting it to be. So, how do you follow that up? By having a day like yesterday, of course. So, full disclosure, I've never watched Game of Thrones. I've never seen Game of Thrones. I couldn't tell you the name of any character outside of Jon Snow. Or, the only thing I know is that Peter Dinklage is in it and that Peter Dinklage is the man. But we all know this. So, if you are a fan of Game of Thrones, then you have every opportunity to be excited because the final season, I do believe, premiered. And I haven't heard anything bad yet, so that's a good thing, right? I guess no news is good news. Let's see what else. Again, another thing I'm not really much of an expert on, but I do like to learn, and I do sort of pay attention because my family just talks about sports a lot. And that is the fact that Tiger Woods won his first Masters in 11 years, which is incredibly awesome. In fact, some people are already calling it the greatest comeback in golf sports history or something like that. So, I don't know if it's going to be as big as Super Bowl 51, but yeah. From what I hear, Tiger Woods won the Masters yesterday, so on the incredibly slim chance you are watching this, Mr. Woods, congratulations, and I hope you celebrate with both modesty and, responsibility, and have fun too, because you won the Masters. You deserve to have a little bit of fun, right? Not that kind of fun. Anyway, another thing that happened yesterday is we actually celebrated my cousin's birthday last night. It was a wonderful get together. One of my brothers, the actor from Chicago, is going to love what I'm about to say. And actually another one of my brothers who's also from Chicago, who is actually one of the 16 on the left, by the way. He's going to love this too. For dinner last night, no kidding. Well, first let me start off by saying, for appetizers, there was a fruit platter, a vegetable platter with both ranch and hummus. That was very good. The fruit platter, had pineapple, cantaloupe, honeydew, grapes, berries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, all those. Big fruit platter. It was all from Wegmans, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. There was a cheese plate. Now, two of the cheeses I don't know what they were, but the other two I know were Parmesan and Gorgonzola, which was great. It came with, nuts and figs and craisins, which was even more awesome. And, there was shrimp with a delicious cocktail sauce. I love shrimp, but I'll get to that on a later date. Hint for a future video, by the way. Anyway, so that was all well and good. For dinner, we actually had food imported from Portillo's from Chicago. We had Italian beef sandwiches with giardiniera. And giardiniera is kind of like, I guess you could say it's kind of like a bunch of pickled vegetables. There's like jalapenos, carrots, onion, some celery in there a little bit, just sort of, you're supposed to, see, you put giardiniera on the Italian beef sandwich because the sort of fresh vinegar sort of tasting giardiniera is supposed to cut through the fat of the thinly sliced ribeye that the Italian beef sandwiches were comprised of. And of course it came with lots and lots of au jus. Oh, see, au jus is the drippings from a steak after you cook it, and basically you dip the sandwich in the au jus, and it's very messy, but it's also very, very, very delicious. And not only do we have those, but we also had Chicago-style hot dogs. I finally have tasted the legendary Chicago 7. Oh, right. For those of you who don't know, the Chicago 7 is a term used to describe the ingredients that people from Chicago put on a hot dog. It is mustard, onions, sweet green pickle relish, a dill pickle spear, tomatoes, peppers, for usually pepperoncinis, I believe. No, it's not pepperoncinis. It's a type of pepper, but the name escapes me. And celery salt. So 7. Yeah, that was 7. And it was it's also all on a poppy seed bun as well. And it was big, messy, and very, very, very delicious. I honestly had a wonderful time, and to my 2 brothers out there in Chicago, and you guys know who you are, I definitely got to have a taste of the real thing someday. Maybe someday if I'm big and rich and famous. One of these days I'm definitely coming out to Chicago. I got to figure out when. I'd like to. I would like to go to Chicago one day. Although I am going to need to prepare for the elements, because from what I hear, in Chicago, you gotta wait 5 minutes and then something different happens. I don't know. So when we first got there were a few games we played. The first game is a game called You Can't Say Old. Now what you do is you wear necklaces, kind of like, I guess they were sort of similar, akin to, say, Mardi Gras beads. Not those kind of Mardi Gras beads. But anyway, you wear the necklace, and you gotta trick people into saying the word old. And if you do that, you get to take their necklace away from them. I lost almost immediately when I arrived, but it didn't matter. I still had a wonderful time. Another game we played, and this was actually a really fun game, is the hostess of the party came up with a game where she would say a bunch of clues, and for each respective clue consisted of a candy bar, and if you get it right, you get the candy bar. Like one example was laughter and giggles. The answer was Snickers, because Snicker is also a type of laughter. So there you go. Another they had was this wasn't an actual clue, but I could definitely use it like this. Is length of 20 years, or score. Now, there actually is a candy bar and you call it score, but score is spelled S-K-O-R. But, as long as you pronounce it, it didn't matter. There was actually one that I got right. It was, I believe the clue, actually, I don't think this was the clue at all, but it could still work this way. Creamy direction. The answer was Milky Way. So I got myself a Milky Way. It was actually a midnight dark Milky Way. The dark chocolate ones, which Holy cow, those are good. I'm definitely going to be getting one, like, at a different point in time. Not now, because it's still, like, really early in the day. I mean, yeah, I know it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but that doesn't apply to this. Anyway, so all in all, I had a wonderful time, and for dessert, we had, cake and ice cream. It was actually homemade pineapple upside down bundt cake. So it was not just any kind of cake; it was a bundt cake. It was very delicious. I think, no kidding, that's actually the first time I ever had pineapple upside down cake. It was, and I gotta say, I get what the hype is about. It really was delicious. So, yes, all in all, it was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening. And I can't wait to see, I always look forward to, and if any of you guys in my family or happen to be watching this, know that I always look forward to seeing you all, and I can't wait to do it again. So, that's nice. And there is one thing I do gotta mention. That, there's an individual that I know who is actually running the Boston Marathon today. Now, this individual was never my teammate. He actually graduated from Horseheads as well. He was never my teammate, solely because he graduated. I had already graduated by the time he arrived at Horseheads High School. So technically, we were never teammates. But I can assure you of this. If he was my teammate, he'd be one of the 16 of the left. Of course, then again, I would have to make it 17 of the left. But, yes. And, I gave him some words of encouragement in preparation for today. And, here's to hoping, fingers crossed you do well today. Remember, run smart, not hard. Hydrate early and often. And if all else fails, just remember to keep moving your feet. I may not be some of the best coaches we ever had at Horseheads, and yes, I am actually saying what I told him yesterday on Facebook over a message, actually. It's that your will to win, or in this case, crossing the finish line, will mean everything because of your will to be prepared for your race today. Okay, at this point I'm paraphrasing. What you've done will ultimately be in your grasp by the end of the day because of everything you've done. What you want is well within your grasp and will be within your grasp at the end of the day because of everything you've done. And as long as you remember to do what you're supposed to do, then the W, or in this case, crossing the finish line again, will take care of itself. Now, have fun, stay safe, and go be the big darn hero that I know you to be. I used a different word that started with the letter D when I wrote it to him yesterday. But, yes, you got this, bro. I can't wait to see what you do. I can't wait to see the photos of after you've finished Boston. And, if I ever see you again, I better be hearing some pretty awesome details about it. So, yeah. You know what? After all this, I think I'm going to be riding the high end today. And I'm looking forward to it every opportunity I get. So, like, favorite, share, and hit that subscribe button. I could really use the support on YouTube. Follow me on the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. As always, I'm very humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy today. I'm hoping we all have a wonderful Monday. And remember, for you guys that want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. And I'll always have your back. Take care and make good choices.